Madhava Kunja Vihari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Vihari Gopi Janavalava Girivaradhari Jaya Gopi Janavalava Girivaradhari Jaya Gopi Janavalava Girivaradhari Yashodanandana Vraja Janaranjana Yashodanandana Vraja Janaranjana Jamuna Tira Vanachari Jamuna Tira Vanachari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Vihari Jaya Radha Gopi Janavalava Girivaradhari Gopi Janavalava Girivaradhari Yashodanandana Vraja Janaranjana Yashodanandana Vraja Janaranjana Jamuna Tira Vanachari Jamuna Tira Vanachari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Vihari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Vihari Jayam Vishnupad Paramahansa Parivrajacharya Ashtathasa Shri Śrimad Śrīla Bhaktivedanta Goswami Maharaj Śrīla Prabhupada Ki Jai. Jayam Vishnupad Paramahansa Parivrajacharya Ashtathasa Shri Śrimad Śrīla Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Goswami Maharaj Śrīla Prabhupada Ki Jai. Ananta Koti Vaishnavrinda Ki Jai. Namacharya Śrīla Haridas Thakur Ki Jai. Prem se kaha Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasadi Gaur Bhaktivinoda Ki Jai. Shri Shri Radha Krishna Gopa Gopinath Shyama Kunda Radha Kundi Giri Govardhana Ki Jai. Shri Vrindavan Dham Ki Jai. Shri Mathura Dham Ki Jai. Shri Dwarka Dham Ki Jai. Shri Jagannath Puri Dham Ki Jai. Tulsi Devi Bhakti Devi Ki Jai. Ganga Devi Jamunamai Ki Jai. Samaveda Bhakti Vrindi Ki Jai. Gaur Brahmanande. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to the assembled devotees. Jai Shri Shri Guru and Gauranga. All right. Hare Krishna and good morning from Iskcon, Hong Kong. I don't think this is on. Is this on? Is it on? Hello. Yeah, we got it now. Yeah. Okay. I'm Sravaniya Dasi, and we are reading from Śrimad Bhagāvatam, Canto 1, Chapter 8, Text 31. Thank you for joining us.
咁好多謝大家今日繼續聆聽聖典課家談啦。咁我哋今日會講第一篇第8章第31節。
Technical difficulties here?
我哋有少少技術問題，好快會處理到㗎啦。
How we doing? How we doing? Yeah, we're on. Okay, so today's topic is a woman who knows God.
咁今日嘅題目咧就係一個認識神嘅女性。
In this chapter, Srimati Kunti Devi, the sister of Lord Krishna's father Vasudeva, is thanking and praising Krishna as he prepares to depart for his capital Dwarka.
咁喺呢一章入邊咧，Srimati Kunti Devi 啦，咁佢咧就係主Krishna 嘅爸爸 Vasudeva 嘅妹妹。咁佢咧就係當 Krishna 係準備離開翻去 Dwarka 嘅時候咧，佢咧就係多謝佢啦，同埋讚美 Krishna。
It is clear from her description that she is one of the few who truly understood Lord Krishna's position as the Supreme Personality of Godhead while he appeared on this planet.
咁呢個好清晰咧，就係通過Kunti Devi 嘅形容啦，佢係其中一個咧係好明白主 Krishna 嘅身份啦，就係呢個作為呢個至尊人格守神嘅一個人。
She even sounds like a sage as she enumerates so many things about him, speaking from the platform of pure devotion with love and humility.
佢Kunti 咧嘅講話咧就好似一個聖人咁樣，佢咧係列出好多咧係關於 Krishna 嘅嘢啦，同埋咧就係喺一個咧充滿咗愛同埋謙卑嘅純粹奉愛嘅平台嗰度嚟到講嘅。
But here in today's verse, she unexpectedly mentions an incident that occurred in Vrindavan when Krishna was very small.
咁但係喺今日個詩節嗰度咧，佢咧就係好即係意外地咧，就係描述到一個咧係喺 Vrindavan 當 Krishna 仍然好細個嘅時候發生嘅一個逍遙時光。
Let's take a look.
咁我哋而家一齊去睇下。
Okay, anybody got the verse right in front of you? No? Okay, this is a long verse. Maybe I should just chant it by itself. Yeah, it's a long verse. Okay, here we go. Gopya dade tvayi kritaga sidama tavad. Oh, you want to chant it? Okay, we'll do it bit by bit. Here we go. Gopya dade tvayi kritagasi dama tavad. Gopya dade tvayi kritagasi dama tavad. Gopya dade tvayi kritagasi dama tavad. Yate dashrashu Kalilanjanam Sambramaksham Yate dasrashu Kalilanjanam Sambramaksham Yate dasrashu Kalilanjana Sambramaksham Yate dasrashu Kalilanjana Sambramaksham Vaktrang Niniya Bhaya Bhavanaya Stitasya 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 Samam Vimohayati Bhir Api Yabibheti Samam Vimohayati Bhir api yadbibheti Samam vimohayati bhir api yadbibheti. All right. So, here's the translation and purport by His Divine Grace, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada.
就係
So Kunti Devi says, standing face to face with Lord Sri Krishna, "My dear Krishna, Yashoda took up a rope to bind you when you committed an offense, and your perturbed eyes overflooded with tears, which washed the mascara from your eyes, and you were afraid, though fear personified is afraid of you. This sight is bewildering to me."
譯文為要知有聖巴巴提供。譯文：親愛嘅 Krishna， 你犯錯時，Yashoda拿出繩子來綁你，你驚恐萬狀地反着眼，淚珠洶洶地往下掉，洗刷着塗在你眼周嘅黑眼膏。儘管恐懼嘅人格化身懼怕你，但你當時卻害怕了。你的這一表現令我困惑。
Purport. Here is another explanation of the bewilderment created by the pastimes of the Supreme Lord. The Supreme Lord is the supreme in all circumstances, as already explained. Here is an example of the Lord's being the supreme and at the same time a plaything in the presence of his pure devotee.
這節詩裏說的，是至尊主嘅娛樂活動給人造成嘅另一個困惑。正如前面解釋，至尊主在任何情況下都是至高無上的。
The Lord's pure devotee renders service unto the Lord out of unalloyed love only, and while discharging such devotional service, the pure devotee forgets the position of the Supreme Lord.
這節詩裏描述嘅係佢作為至尊主嘅同時，又在他純粹嘅奉獻者面前充當了一個玩偶嘅具體事例。至尊主嘅純粹奉獻者出於對他純粹嘅愛為他服務，他們在做這種奉愛服務時，忘了至尊主嘅地位。
The Supreme Lord also accepts the loving service of his devotees more relishably when the service is rendered spontaneously out of pure affection, without anything of reverential admiration. Generally, the Lord is worshipped by the devotees in a reverential attitude, but the Lord is meticulously pleased when the devotee, out of pure affection and love, considers the Lord to be less important than himself.
當至尊主嘅奉獻者唔係懷着敬仰心，而純粹係出於發自內心嘅愛而為至尊主作服務時，至尊主會更喜歡接受他們所做嘅愛心服務。奉獻者一般都是懷着敬仰嘅心態崇拜至尊主，但當他們出於純粹嘅愛，認為至尊主比自己更弱時，至尊主心裏更高興。
The Lord's pastimes in the original abode of Goloka Vrindavan are exchanged in that spirit. The friends of Krishna consider him one of them. They do not consider him to be of reverential importance.
至尊主嘅佢原本嘅住所 Goloka Vrindavan 中，就係喺呢種狀態下與佢嘅奉獻者進行愛嘅交流，並從事娛樂活動。Krishna 嘅朋友認為他係佢哋嘅一員，對他並沒有敬仰之心。
The parents of the Lord, who are all pure devotees, consider him a child only. The Lord accepts the chastisements of the parents more cheerfully than the prayers of the Vedic hymns.
他的父母，他們都是純粹嘅奉獻者，只把佢當係自己嘅小孩子。至尊主在接受父母嘅處罰時，比聽偉大經中嘅讚歌還要高興。
Similarly, He accepts the reproaches of his fiancées more palatably than the Vedic hymns.
同樣，未婚妻們嘅責備在他耳裏比偉大讚歌還動聽。
When Lord Krishna was present in this material world to manifest his eternal pastimes of the transcendental realm of Goloka Vrindavan as an attraction for the people in general, he displayed a unique picture of subordination before his foster mother, Yashoda.
至尊主到這個物質世界來展示他在超然嘅王國Goloka Vrindavan所從事嘅娛樂活動，以吸引普通大眾時，他扮演了 Yashoda 嘅養子嘅角色，向 Yashoda 展現了獨一無二嘅服從態度。
The Lord, in his naturally childish, playful activities, used to spoil the stocked butter of Mother Yashoda by breaking the pots and distributing the contents to his friends and playmates, including the celebrated monkeys of Vrindavan, who took advantage of the Lord's munificence.
至尊主喺從事呢啲天真兒童娛樂活動時，常常打破 Yashoda 媽媽存放黃油嘅罐子，糟蹋黃油，或者將黃油分俾佢嘅朋友玩伴，包括著名嘅 Vrindavan 猴子，讓佢哋都感體會到佢嘅慷慨大方。
Mother Yashoda saw this, and out of her pure love, she wanted to make a show of punishment for her transcendental child. She took a rope and threatened the Lord that she would tie him up, as is generally done in the ordinary household.
Yashoda 媽媽看到這一切後，出於對至尊主純粹嘅愛，決定要假裝懲罰一下佢呢個超然嘅兒子。佢好似家庭主婦咁樣，通常做嘅那樣，拿出繩子威脅至尊主，說要把他綁起來。
So you've seen the picture of Mother Yashoda chasing Krishna with a stick in her hand.
咁話大家都應該見過幅相咧，就係 Yashoda 媽媽咧係攞住支棍咧喺後邊咧追住 Krishna。
So the part that I remember the most is she says, "Stop running," and he says, "Drop the stick."
咁我最記得嘅一幕咧就係 Yashoda 媽媽就會喺度嗌啦，你快啲唔好再走，停低。跟住咧 Krishna 就喺度嗌，咁你首先你掉咗你支棍先啦。
Seeing the rope in the hands of Mother Yashoda, the Lord bowed down his head and began to weep just like a child, and tears rolled down his cheeks, washing off the black ointment smeared about his beautiful eyes.
至尊主看到 Yashoda 媽媽手裏拿住嘅繩子，便低下頭哭了起來，淚珠洗刷塗在她美麗嘅眼睛周圍嘅黑眼膏之後，順着臉頰滾落下來。
This picture of the Lord is adored by Kunti Devi because she is conscious of the Lord's supreme position. He is feared often by fear personified, yet he is afraid of his mother, who wanted to punish him just in an ordinary manner.
Kunti Devi 崇拜至尊主嘅呢個情態，因為佢知道至尊主至高無上嘅地位。至尊主雖然經常使恐懼嘅人格化身膽寒，但卻害怕他母親以普通嘅方式懲罰他。
Kunti was conscious of the exalted position of Krishna, whereas Yashoda was not. Therefore, Yashoda's position was more exalted than Kunti's.
Kunti 知道Kunti 知道 Krishna 崇高嘅地位，而 Yashoda 卻不知道，因此說 Yashoda 嘅地位比 Kunti 還要高。
Mother Yashoda got the Lord as her child, and the Lord made her forget altogether that her child was the Lord himself. If Mother Yashoda had been conscious of the exalted position of the Lord, she would certainly have hesitated to punish the Lord. But she was made to forget this situation because the Lord wanted to make a complete gesture of childishness before the affectionate Yashoda.
Yashoda 媽媽得到至尊主當佢嘅孩子，至尊主使佢徹底忘了他的孩子就是至尊主本人。Yashoda 媽媽知道，如果知道至尊主嘅崇高地位，就不會毫不猶豫地要懲罰他了。然而，至尊主使 Yashoda 徹底忘了這一事實，因為他想在深愛着他嘅 Yashoda 面前完全展示出他的雅氣。
This exchange of love between the mother and the son was performed in a natural way, and Kunti, remembering the scene, was bewildered, and she could do nothing but praise the transcendental filial love. Indirectly, Mother Yashoda is praised for her unique position of love, for she could control even the all-powerful Lord as her beloved child.
Yashoda 媽媽和 Krishna 之間嘅愛嘅交流十分自然。Kunti 回憶起這一情景時感到困惑， 所以只有讚美至尊主 Krishna 作為兒子所表現出嘅超然嘅愛，同時間接地讚美 Yashoda 那獨一無二嘅愛嘅地位，因為他甚至能把全能嘅至尊主當作他的兒子加以控制。
Okay, that's Srila Prabhupada's purport. So since Kunti did not live in the neighborhood of Vrindavan, I find it interesting that she even knew about Yashoda binding baby Krishna.
因為咧，其實 Kunti Devi 佢唔係住喺 Vrindavan 附近嘅地方嘅，咁我發現咧呢個係非常之有趣，佢竟然咧係知道咧 Yashoda 咧係用繩咧嚟到綁起Krishna BB。
It appears that word has always gotten around, even without the internet.
咁似乎咧係呢個傳播消息嘅方法係非常之快嘅，就算當時咧係冇呢個 internet 存在。
Knowing the great power that Krishna possesses, she finds this pastime bewildering.
因為咧，其實佢明白到 Krishna 所擁有嘅呢個咁大嘅力量啦，咁所以咧佢發覺呢一個逍遙時光對於佢嚟講咧係非常之令佢迷惑。
It is important for us to understand that even though Krishna is the supreme controller, Parameshvara, he can be controlled by the love of his pure devotee.
咁我哋有一點非常之重要，我哋要去明白嘅就係，雖然咧 Krishna 作為呢個至尊控制者啦，佢係 Parameshvara， 但係佢係可以咧係通過佢純粹奉獻者嘅愛咧而被控制。
Everything Krishna does is good for everyone, all the time. And he executes many tasks with one action.
咁 Krishna 對每一個人喺任何時間所做嘅嘢咧都係好嘅，而佢咧亦都可以通過一個行動咧，就係處理好多嘅事情。
In the case of his Damodar Leela, by breaking the butter pot, he played the part of a naughty boy. He got disciplined by his mother like an ordinary child. He proved that he is controlled by the love of his pure devotee. He freed the two sons of Kuvera from standing as trees due to their offenses and the curse of Narada, which was really a blessing that caused them to meet the Supreme Lord face to face. And all the neighbors of Vrindavan had something new to talk about.
咁咧佢喺呢一個逍遙時光入邊咧，佢同時做到好多嘢啦。佢就好似一個普通嘅細路仔咁樣俾佢媽媽懲罰啦，而佢都證明咗咧係佢嘅純粹嘅奉獻者係可以控制 Krishna 嘅。而佢都將 Kuvera 嘅兩個兒子咧係釋放解脫出嚟啦。當時佢兩個兒子咧係企喺變成兩棵樹企度，咁因為咧佢哋咧係做咗冒犯咗 Narada Muni， 咁而呢個係 Narada Muni 對佢哋嘅詛咒。咁但係其實咧呢個係一個祝福嚟嘅，因為令到佢哋咧可以親身見到 面對面見到 Krishna。而因為呢個逍遙時光咧 ，Vrindavan 嘅所有居民咧亦都有一啲新嘅話題可以去講述。
In today's purport, Srila Prabhupada says, the Lord accepts the chastisements of the parents more cheerfully than the prayers of the Vedic hymns. Such is the difference between love of Godhead and reverence for God.
咁喺今日嘅意思入邊咧，聖帕巴就講啦，至尊主咧係接受佢父母俾佢嘅懲罰咧，係令到比起咧係呢個偉大讚歌嘅土民咧係更加開心嘅。呢個咧就係對守神嘅愛同埋呢個對神敬畏嘅心嘅分別。
So the purpose of the Lord's appearance. Kunti gives a list of various reasons why Krishna made his appearance on earth.
咁點解主嘅顯現嘅目的係咩咧？咁 Kunti Devi 咧就係列舉咗好多嘅原因啦。點解 Krishna 咧要喺呢個地球嗰度顯現？
Here's her synopsis in the upcoming verses. Text 32, Kunti Devi says, some say that the unborn is born for the glorification of pious kings, and others say that he is born to please King Yadu, one of your dearest devotees. You appear in his family as sandalwood appears in the Malaya hills.
咁呢個第32節詩咧就係譯文，有人講你不經出生就存在，你是一個不經出生就存在嘅人，降臨是為了表揚虔誠嘅君王。有人說你降生是為了取悅你最鍾愛嘅奉獻者之一Yadu王，你顯現在他的家族，猶如檀香樹生長在馬來亞山 Himalayas。Okay.
Text 33. Others say that since both Vasudeva and Devaki prayed for you, you have taken your birth as their son. Undoubtedly, you are unborn, yet you take your birth for their welfare and to kill those who are envious of the demigods.
第33節，有人說：由於巴蘇蒂和地巴奇一起向你祈禱，你便以他們嘅兒子嘅身份降臨。你無疑是不經出生就存在的，但卻為了他們嘅幸福而降生，同時消滅妒忌半神人的人。
Text 34. Others say that the world, being overburdened like a boat at sea, is much aggrieved, and that Brahma, who is your son, prayed for you, and so you have appeared to diminish the trouble.
第34節，還有人說：這世界承受了太多嘅傷害，彷彿海上超載嘅船隻。你兒子 Brahma 為此向你祈禱，你於是前來減輕不幸。
Text 35. And yet others say that you appeared for the sake of rejuvenating the devotional service of hearing, remembering, worshiping, and so on, in order that the conditioned souls suffering from material pangs might take advantage and gain liberation.
第35節，但其他人卻說你顯現是為了恢復聆聽、記憶和崇拜等各項奉愛服務，以使歷盡物質痛苦嘅受制約嘅靈魂從中受益，獲得解脫。
So Krishna achieved all of these goals, and it's wonderful that Aunt Kunti could understand the details. Such an intelligent lady is rare indeed.
咁咧 ，Krishna 嘅降凡就係全部完成咗呢啲嘅目標咯。咁而呢個咧亦都係非常之美妙嘅，因為觀節皇后咧能夠明白呢啲嘅細節。咁一個咁聰明嘅女性咧，其實係好少有嘅。
So there are different categories of loving service. And in today's purport, we find this statement: Kunti was conscious of the exalted position of Krishna, whereas Yashoda was not. Therefore, Yashoda's position was more exalted than Kunti's.
咁喺今日嘅詩詞入邊咧，就係嘅要旨入邊咧就講到啦。觀節皇后咧係好清楚咧知道 Krishna 崇高嘅定位，但係 Yashoda 媽媽咧就唔知道。咁所以咧 Yashoda 嘅地位咧係比觀節咧係更加優秀。
Mother Yashoda got the Lord as her child, and the Lord made her forget altogether that her child was the Lord himself.
Yashoda 媽媽得到至尊主當係佢嘅孩子啦，而至尊主亦都使佢咧徹底忘記咗佢嘅孩子就係至尊主本人。
Okay, so Lord Krishna has a multitude of energies, and therefore he acts in multifarious ways. Parasha Shaktiya Vividai Visruyate.
咁咧，Krishna 有好多唔同嘅能量啦，而所以咧，佢亦都用好多唔同嘅方法咧嚟到係去行事。
This Yogamaya energy of forgetfulness brings the living entity closer to the Lord through loving interaction, whereas the Mahamaya energy of forgetfulness drags the fallen soul away.
咁 Krishna 嘅 Yogamaya 能量咧，令到人哋遺忘啦。亦都令到呢個生物體咧更加能夠親近至尊主，通過呢個愛心嘅交流。而 Krishna 嘅另一種能量 Mahamaya 咧，就會令到亦都會令到生物體遺忘啦，但係就會令到墮落嘅靈魂咧係遠離 Krishna。
So forgetfulness is not just in Mahamaya, it's also in Yogamaya.
咁所以咧，唔單止係 Mahamaya 會令到人遺忘 ，Yogamaya 咧亦都可以。
That's an interesting point.
咁呢個係非常有趣嘅一點。
Okay, so there are 5 mellows or rasas, rasa meaning tastes, of loving service to the Lord. Here's a detailed explanation given by Srila Prabhupada in Chaitanya Charitamrita Adi Lila, chapter 8, text 19.
咁我哋向至尊主做嘅愛心服務咧，有5種唔同嘅關係啦。咁而呢個咧係聖帕巴咧喺永恆的主有坦耶經阿啲呢度嗰度咧有個好詳細嘅解釋。
Okay, the great sage Sukadeva Goswami said, "My dear Maharaj Pariksit, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Krishna, is always ready to help you. He is your master, guru, God, and very dear friend, and also the head of your family. He sometimes agrees to act as your family's servant or order carrier. You are greatly fortunate, because this relationship is possible only in Bhakti Yoga. The Lord can give liberation, mukti, very easily, but he does not very easily give one Bhakti Yoga, because by that process he is bound to the devotee."
咁呢個係《永恆的主宰坦日經》阿啲呢第8章嘅第19節譯文啦。偉大嘅聖節 Sukadeva Goswami 說：要啲Mara Parishit 至尊人格守神 Krishna 總係喺你旁邊幫助你，佢係你嘅主人、靈性導師、神、親密嘅朋友兼一家之主。有時甚至同意當你嘅僕人，執行你嘅命令。你好幸運，因為只有憑藉奉愛瑜伽才有可能得到這種關係。主可以輕易賜予解脫，但卻不會那麼容易賜予奉愛服務 Bhakti Yoga， 因為奉愛瑜伽會把主與自己嘅奉獻者綁在一齊。
That's why bhakti is called confidential knowledge.
咁所以點解咧？奉愛咧被稱為一個機密嘅知識。
Confidential means secret.
機密嘅意思即係一個秘密嚟嘅。
So here's the purport by Srila Prabhupada. This passage is a quotation from Śrimad Bhagāvatam, Canto 5, Chapter 6, Text 18, where while Sukadeva Goswami was describing the character of Rishabdev, he distinguished between bhakti yoga and liberation by reciting this verse.
咁呢個聖巴巴嘅要旨啦，本節咧係摘自聖典《博伽談》第5篇第6章第18節。當時咧，Sukadeva Goswami 喺度描述 Rishabdev 嘅品格時，將奉愛瑜伽同埋解脫作出嘅區別。
In relationship with the Yadus and Pandavas, the Lord acted sometimes as their master, sometimes as their advisor, sometimes as their friend, sometimes as the head of their family, and sometimes even as their servant.
咁主同埋Yadu 族人啦、Pandava 兄弟等人嘅關係就係有時做佢嘅主人，有時做佢嘅顧問，有時做佢嘅朋友，有時做佢哋嘅一家之主，甚至咧有時咧係做佢哋嘅僕人。
Krishna once had to carry out an order of Yudhishthir's by carrying a letter Yudhishthir had written to Duryodhana regarding peace negotiations.
有一次咧 ，Krishna 要執行 Yudhishthir 王嘅命令，攜帶 Yudhishthir 王嘅議和書去見到 Duryodhana。
Similarly, he also became the chariot driver of Arjuna. This illustrates that in Bhakti Yoga, there is a relationship established between the Supreme Personality of Godhead and the devotee.
咁而 Krishna 咧，亦都係當過 Arjuna 嘅車夫咯。呢一點顯示出至尊人格手上嘅奉獻者建立起一種關係，這就是奉愛瑜伽所獨有的。
Okay, so here are the different rasas. Such a relationship is established in the transcendental mellows known as dasya, sakya, vatsalya, and madhurya.
咁而呢種關係咧就係建立喺僕人啦、dasya 啦、朋友 sakya、親子valasya 同埋愛侶之情 madhurya 呢4種超然甘露之中。
We give the details in just a minute.
咁我哋遲啲會講呢個詳細咁樣描述。
Can we close that door, please? Yeah, can you close the door? Close the door. Thank you.
關門，請關門。
Yep. Right.
你叫入去啦，如果聽唔到，唔該晒。
Right. If a devotee wants simple liberation, he gets it very easily from the Supreme Personality of Godhead, as confirmed by Bilva Mangala Thakur. Mukti Svayam Mukhulitanjali Sevate Sman.
奉獻者倘若只想解脫，亦都可以輕而易舉係從至尊人格手神嗰度獲得，就好似Bilva Mangala 證實咗呢一點。
For a devotee, mukti is not very important, because mukti is always standing at his doorstep waiting to serve him in some way.
對奉獻者嚟講咧，解脫毫不重要，因為解脫 Mukti 一直站喺佢嘅門前等候着，總想服務佢。
A devotee, therefore, must be attracted by the behavior of the inhabitants of Vrindavan who live in a relationship with Krishna.
咁因此，奉獻者一定要受到 Vrindavan 居民嘅活動所吸引，佢哋都與 Krishna 保持着一種關係。
Okay, we're going to describe Shantaras.
咁我哋首先咧會描述呢個 Shantaras 中性嘅關係。
The land, water, cows, trees, and flowers serve Krishna in Shantarasa, neutral.
咁咧 土地啦、流水啦、牛啦、樹木、花卉啦，以中性嘅關係 Shantaras 服務住 Krishna。
Then Dasyaras, his servants serve him in Dasyaras servitor.
咁跟住咧就係 Dasyaras 啦。咁Krishna 嘅僕人咧喺主僕關係入邊咧服務着 Krishna。
His cowherd friends serve him in Sakyaras, friendship.
而 Krishna 嘅牧牛同朋友咧就喺友情Satyaras 中服務着 Krishna。
Similarly, the elder gopis and gopas serve Krishna as father and mother, uncle, and other relatives. Vatsalya rasa, parenthood.
年長嘅牧牛郎同埋牧牛女咧就係懷着父母之情服務着 Krishna。
And the young gopis, the cowherd girls, serve Krishna in conjugal love. Madhurya rasa, lover and beloved.
而年輕嘅姑娘咧就喺愛侶之情中咧服務着 Krishna。Madhurya Ras。
While executing devotional service, one must be naturally inclined to serve Krishna in one of these transcendental relationships. That is the actual success of life.
當人喺履行奉愛服務嘅時候咧，必須發乎自然，甘願以上述5種超然關係中嘅一種去服務 Krishna， 這樣生命才能達到圓滿。
That's Prabhupada's purport.
咁呢個正巴巴嘅要旨。
Very detailed.
咁咧係非常之詳細嘅。
So personal versus impersonal realization is what interests me in this regard.
咁跟住咧，我非常有趣嘅一點咧，就係一個人格化、人格性同埋非人格性嘅覺悟。
This knowledge of the relationship between Param Brahman, the Great Spirit, and the individual spirits is confidential knowledge.
咁呢一個Para Brahman 啦，對偉大嘅靈魂同埋呢個個體靈魂之間嘅呢個關係咧，呢個知識咧係一個非常機密嘅知識。
The vast majority of yoga philosophy being taught now is impersonal.
咁而絕大部分而家所教授嘅瑜伽嘅哲學咧，其實咧都係非人格化嘅。
Yeah, tell me about it. I teach at the Pure Yoga. I teach philosophy there. Now it's all impersonal.
咁我都曾經喺Pure Yoga 啦呢個瑜伽所度咧係教呢個哲學啦。咁但係當時嗰度所有嘅人咧都係非人格化嘅。
Yeah, Srila Prabhupada explains further. For a devotee to get liberation is not very difficult. Even one who is unable to establish a relationship with Krishna can achieve liberation by merging into the Brahman effulgence. This is called Sayuja Mukti.
咁對於奉獻者嚟講咧，要得到解脫咧並唔困難。就算一個人咧冇辦法同 Krishna 建立呢個關係啦，但係佢都可以咧通過咧融入呢個梵光當中咧係得到解脫。呢個咧就稱為 Sayuja Mukti。
This is called integration.
咁呢個咧係融為一體。
That's what the Mayavadi yogis call it, integration.
咁所以呢啲非人格神主義者佢就稱呢個咧係融合，同神融合。
That means that I disappear into the light of being, the infinite light of being.
咁我哋係融入呢一個無限嘅光燦當中。
Vaishnavas never accept Sayuja Mukti, although sometimes they accept the other forms of liberation.
咁而奉獻者嚟講咧，佢永遠都唔會接受呢一種嘅解脫嘅。雖然咧有陣時佢哋會接受另外一啲種類嘅解脫。
The other forms of liberation are known as Sarupya, Salokya, Samipya, and Sharsti.
咁其他種類嘅解脫咧，包括咧 Sarupya 啦、Salokya 啦、Samipya 啦同埋 Saristi。
That's a topic for another day.
咁呢個要講述咧就太花時間啦，要另外一堂課先可以講。
Yep. A pure devotee, however, does not accept any kind of mukti. He wants only to serve Krishna in a transcendental relationship.
但對於純粹奉獻者嚟講咧，佢並唔想咧接受任何一種嘅解脫，佢淨係想咧同 Krishna 喺一個超然嘅關係當中咧去服務 Krishna。
This is the perfectional stage of spiritual life.
呢個咧亦都係靈性生命嘅完美境界。
So when Uddhava was leaving Vrindavan and Nanda Maharaj and the others were giving some presents to give to Krishna, and the king, when Uddhava returned, they Ananda Maharaj prayed, may our good works always give us more love for Krishna, life after life. He didn't even want to go back to Godhead in the next life. Life after life.
咁
Didn't
咧
even，care. 當
當 Uddhava 要離開 Vrindavan 翻去Dwarka 嘅時候咧，咁 Nanda Maharaj 咧就將啲禮物俾咗 Uddhava 去帶翻去咯。咁當時咧 Nanda Maharaj 就講啦：我咧希望我嘅所做嘅呢一切咧，能夠令到我咧係得更加咧係充滿着對 Krishna 嘅愛。一生又一生，佢甚至咧係唔想咧係得到解脫，唔想咧即係離開呢個物質世界。
Mayavadi philosophers desire to merge into the existence of the Brahman effulgence, although this aspect of liberation is always neglected by the devotees.
非人格神主義嘅哲學家咧，佢哋咧係期望咧能夠咧係融入咧呢一個梵光當中。雖然咧對奉獻者嚟講，佢根本咧就唔重視呢一樣嘢。
Now get this, Srila Prabodhananda Saraswati Thakur, describing this kind of mukti, which is called kaivalya, you've heard of this, kaivalya, or becoming one with the Supreme, he said, Kaivalyam narakayate. Becoming one with the Supreme is as good as going to hell.
咁一個聖人啦，Srila Prabodhananda Saraswati Thakur 佢就咁樣描述呢一個解脫係乜嘢啦？佢稱為咧 Kaivalya， 咁咧就係融入變成至尊主。咁佢就講啦，要同至尊主合一，融為一體合一咧，呢個咧就好似咧去到地獄一樣。
Therefore, the ideal of Mayavadi philosophy, becoming one with the Supreme, is hellish for a devotee. He never accepts it.
咁所以咧呢一個非人格神主義嘅哲學啦，佢哋係就係想希望咧能夠係同至尊主合一。對一個奉獻者嚟講咧，呢個係一個地獄嚟嘅，佢永遠都唔會接受呢樣嘢。
So that's Prabhupada's purport. Here's my comment. The impersonalists are so envious of the Supreme Lord that they would rather become nothing than serve him in any way, shape or form.
咁頭先提醒Prabhupada嘅要旨啦，咁跟住咧就係我嘅覺悟啦。呢個非人格神主義者咧，佢哋對至尊主咧係充滿咗妒忌，去到個點咧就係佢哋情願咧係變成一無所有空，都唔想咧係去為 Krishna 以任何嘅方式啦形象嚟到去服務佢。
Here's some more from Prabhupada. Mayavadi philosophers do not know that even if they merge into the effulgence of the Supreme, this will not give them ultimate rest.
咁呢個係Prabhupada嘅要旨啦。咁就係非人格神主義者咧，佢嘅哲學家咧，佢哋唔知道咧，就算佢哋融入咗至尊主嘅梵光當中咧，呢個都唔係最終嘅休息嚟嘅。
An individual soul cannot live in the Brahman effulgence in a state of inactivity. After some time, he must desire to be active. However, since he's not aware of his relationship with the Supreme Personality of Godhead, and he therefore has no spiritual activity, he must come down for further activities in this material world.
一個個體靈魂咧，佢冇辦法喺呢個主嘅梵光當中咧，係保持呢個唔活動啦。咁所以咧過多啲時間咧，佢咧就好想咧係要有啲活動啦。但係因為佢係唔知道咧佢同至尊主之間嘅關係，所以佢冇辦法咧係參與任何嘅靈性活動。於是咧佢唯有咧就係翻嚟嘅物質世界咧，係去做翻呢一啲嘅物質活動。
This is confirmed in Śrimad Bhagāvatam. Aruya krichtrena parang padang tata padantyadho nadrita yushmad angraya. Because Mayavadi philosophers have no information regarding the transcendental service of the Lord, even after attaining liberation from material activities and merging into the Brahman effulgence, they must come down again to this material world, open hospitals or schools, or perform some philanthropic activities.
咁呢個係正經《Bhagāvatam》第10篇第2章第32節詩入邊講述啦。因為呢啲非人格神主義者咧，就算佢哋能夠喺物質活動當中咧係得到解脫啦，能夠融入呢個梵光當中，但係因為咧佢哋咧冇任何關於對神超然服務嘅知識，所以就算佢哋得到呢個解脫都好啦，佢哋咧都要咧翻嚟呢個物質世界嗰度去做一啲慈善嘅活動，譬如咧係開醫院啊、開學校啊等等。
So we are active by nature, so much so that even when the body is sleeping, we're dreaming and doing all kinds of stuff.
咁咧，我哋個本質咧就係永恆咧都係活躍嘅。就算我哋瞓緊覺嘅時候咧，我哋個思想、我哋嘅心意都喺度，譬如發夢啊等等。
So the Brahman effulgence is boring.
咁所以咧係用入梵光咧，其實係非常之苦悶嘅。
That's what it is. Okay, that's just me. All right, without engaging in relationship with the personality of Godhead, the source of all energies, the yoga system is incomplete, and the Mayavadis are put back on the Ferris wheel of karma.
咁所以如果冇辦法能夠同至尊主建立呢個關係啦，明白到至尊主係所有能量嘅源頭，咁呢一個瑜伽嘅體系咧，其實係唔完整嘅。而呢啲非人格神主義者咧，佢哋亦都咧係永遠都係重複喺呢個業報嘅輪迴入邊。
Yeah, so when you see the Ferris wheel, karma. Very, very good. You go to heaven and then down. And then go up again, yes, and down. Ferris wheel of karma.
又好似一個我哋就係講呢個業報嘅摩天輪啊，你會上邊最高嗰點啦，跟住就翻落嚟，不斷喺度循環。
Yeah, and if you do something wrong and you didn't even know it, you could still get punished for it.
咁所以咧喺業報嘅定律就係，就算你做咗啲你唔知道你做咗啲錯嘅嘢啦，但係你仍然會接受咗呢個懲罰。
Okay. Bewildering is a word often used by those who find themselves in the presence of Krishna. Lord Brahma is one who says this quite often.
咁咧喺主 Krishna 面前咧，好多人咧都會發覺佢自己咧會好常用一個字就係被迷惑。
Krishna is described as adhokshaja, inconceivable.
咁咧就好似主 Brahma 啦，佢都成日講就咁樣講嘅。Krishna 咧稱為adhokshaja，即係咧不可思議。
In the purport of Śrimad Bhagāvatam, this chapter, text 19, Srila Prabhupada writes, and yet there is a class of men of demoniac mentality who are always reluctant to accept the Lord as the supreme absolute truth. This is partially due to their poor fund of knowledge and partially due to their stubborn obstinacy, which results from various misdeeds in the past and present.
咁咧喺第一篇第8章第19節嘅要旨入邊咧，聖爸爸就咁樣寫啦。儘管如此，就係有這麼一種心態邪惡嘅人，總係唔願意承認主 Krishna 至高無上嘅絕對真理。這一部分是由於他們缺乏知識，一部分係因為他們過去和現在所從事嘅罪惡活動，使佢哋變得頑固不化。
Such persons could not recognize Lord Sri Krishna even when he was present before them. Another difficulty is that those who depend more on their imperfect senses cannot realize him as the Supreme Lord. Such persons are like the modern scientist. They want to know everything by their experimental knowledge.
這種人即使當主 Krishna 站喺我哋面前嘅時候，佢都認唔出佢，唔承認佢。此外，太依賴自己有缺陷嘅感官嘅人，亦都無法正確了解至尊主。現代科學家就屬於這種人，他們想憑他們做實驗得到嘅知識了解一切。
But it is not possible to know the Supreme Person by imperfect experimental knowledge. He is described herein as adhokshaja, or beyond the range of experimental knowledge.
然而靠唔完美嘅實驗性嘅知識，不可以了解至尊主。佢喺呢節詩中被描述係超越實驗性知識嘅範疇 adhokshaja。
In other words, adhokshaja means you can't figure him out.
咁換句話說咧，即係我哋冇辦法咧能夠理解佢。
Krishna is always astonishing.
咁咧 Krishna 永遠都會令我哋咧係非常之驚訝。
Nevertheless, he reveals himself to one who engages in loving service to him. Bhaktya mam abhijanati, yavan yaschasmi tatvata. One can understand me as I am, as the Supreme Personality of Godhead, only by devotional service.
雖然如此啦，但係咧一個人通過對佢嘅愛心服務咧，佢就會揭示自己。咁就好似咧喺呢個博家梵歌嘅詩節咧就講到啦，一個人咧能夠明白我至尊人格守神，只有咧通過咧呢個奉愛服務先可以做得到。
So, If that which does not kill us only makes us stronger, then Kunti Devi may be the strongest and most intelligent woman I have ever seen.
咁如果我哋冇被殺死，咁呢個咧就你會令我哋更加強壯嘅。咁咧 Kunti Devi 咧係我所見過嘅最強大啦，同埋有智慧嘅女性。
Kunti's life was marked by numerous hardships, including her abandonment of her first son, Karna, who was born out of wedlock under extraordinary circumstances, the death of her husband, Pandu, the challenge of raising her sons alone, and the ongoing conflicts between the Pandavas and the Kauravas.
Kunti 嘅一生咧都充滿咗好多嘅苦難困難啦，包括咧佢放棄咗佢嘅第一個仔啦 Kana 啦，因為當時咧係喺一個好唔尋常嘅狀態之下咧係喺婚姻以外咧嚟到出生嘅。另外就係佢嘅丈夫嘅死亡 Pandu 嘅死亡啦，佢要一個人獨自撫養佢嘅兒子啦，呢個挑戰，同埋咧係 Pandavas 同埋 Kaurava 之間所面對嘅呢啲衝突。
I was reading in the Krishna book that Kunti Devi felt when she had to live amongst the Kauravas, she felt like a deer, a she deer, in the midst of tigers.
咁咧，當 Kunti Devi 咧知道佢將要咧喺Kauravas 當中嗰度去生存、去養大佢嘅撫養佢嘅兒子嘅時候咧，佢嘅感覺就好似咧佢自己咧係好似咧就係佢自己係一隻母鹿啦，就係一班老虎當中。
Here's more. The death of Karna at the hands of his own brother Arjuna in the Kurukshetra war was deeply painful loss for Kunti.
咁而當佢嘅兒子係當兒子 Kana 係被佢另一個兒子 Arjuna 殺死嘅時候咧，喺呢個 Kurukshetra 嘅戰場上邊，對佢嚟講亦都係一個非常沉重嘅損失。
Kunti's grief was also heightened by Draupadi's suffering humiliation and abduction at the hands of the Kauravas.
咁而Kunti 皇后亦都係非常之傷心啦。當佢係見到咧 Draupadi 咧係受盡呢一個嘅侮辱啦，同埋被綁架，就喺被 Kauravas 佢哋咁樣嚟到侮辱嘅時候。
Kunti Devi went through more than anyone could imagine, and yet her loyalty and devotion to the Supreme Controller, Lord Krishna, never wavered.
咁啊 Kunti Devi 所係經歷嘅係冇其他人咧冇辦法能夠想像嘅苦難，但係佢對至尊主 Krishna 嘅忠誠同埋奉愛咧係從來都冇動搖過。
In text 42, Kunti Devi says, O Lord of Madhu, as the Ganges forever flows to the sea without hindrance, let my attraction be constantly drawn unto you, without being diverted to anyone else.
咁呢個第42節詩啦，Madhu 嘅主人啊，正如恒河之水滔滔不絕咁樣湧入海，請讓我始終把注意力集中在你這裏，永不轉向他人。
Here is Kunti's final statement to Krishna in this chapter, text 43. O Krishna, O friend of Arjuna, O chief amongst the descendants of Vrishni, you are the destroyer of those political parties which are disturbing elements on this earth. Your prowess never deteriorates. You are the proprietor of the transcendental abode, and you descend to relieve the distresses of the cows, the Brahmins, and the devotees. You possess all mystic powers, and you are the preceptor of the entire universe. You are the Almighty God. And I offer you my respectful obeisances.
呢個咧係Kunti 皇后咧喺呢一章入邊咧係對 Krishna 所講嘅最後一句説話啦，第43節。Krishna 阿 Arjuna 嘅朋友 Vrishni 王朝後裔嘅領袖，你摧毀了危害地球嘅政治團體，你高超嘅本領永不減弱，你係超然居所嘅主人，降臨世上是為了去除乳牛、婆羅門和奉獻者嘅痛苦，你擁有一切神秘力量，係整個宇宙嘅導師，你係萬能嘅神，我虔敬地向你頂禮。
So I highly recommend anyone who wants to progress beyond simple reverence for God and to reach the stage of pure love of Krishna, please read Śrimad Bhagāvatam, Canto 1, Chapter 8, texts 18 through 43, and try to understand Queen Kunti's feelings and perspectives.
咁我喺度咧係強烈建議，如果任何人咧佢想能夠由呢一個好簡單嘅對神敬畏嘅心，係去到超越呢一樣嘢咧，係去到咧對守神純粹嘅愛呢個階段咧，咁你咧就可以係閱讀聖經《Bhagāvatam》第1篇第8章第18至43節詩，咁咧就嘗試去理解昆提皇后嘅佢嘅感受，同埋去睇呢件事嘅角度。
Yes, she is respectful in her manner of speaking, but she also hugged Krishna and must have arranged for his feeding him many times. Sounds like Vatsalya Rasa, parental love to me.
咁係嘅，昆提皇后咧係喺佢講嘢嘅態度係非常之尊敬嘅，但係同時咧亦都會擁抱 Krishna 啦，亦都會為 Krishna 咧安排佢嘅床鋪，同埋為佢安排食物。咁咧就好似咧係一個父母嘅愛，對我嚟講就好似父母嘅愛咁樣。
Srimati Kunti Maharani ki jai. Okay. So any questions or thoughts you want to share? Yes, Chitra.
Thank you for the nice class. I would like to ask 2 questions.
Okay.
So is it easier and better to preach to the family than to preach the Mayawadi? Understand my question?
Is it easier?
Sorry. I would like to ask you a question, Mataji.
Yeah.
Is it easier and better to preach to the Kamis than to preach the Mayawadi? This is my first question. 我翻譯埋。我有2個問題啊，我有啲好奇。咁講到 Kami 同埋 Mayawadi， 咁係兩者之間係應該邊啲人士比較容易同埋應該去傳教呢？ Should I speak the second question too?
No.
Okay.
Just first one.
Okay, thank you.
Okay. So each audience has its own requirements.
咁每一群嘅聽眾咧都有獨特嘅要求嘅。
When I talk to Mayavadis about this philosophy, what I do is I give the Advaita Vedanta and Bhagavat Vedanta, and I compare them.
咁當我向非人格神主義者係講嘢嘅時候咧，我就會將 Vedanta 嘅哲學啦，同埋Advaita 嘅哲學咧，兩者咧係一齊講嚟到比較，作一個比較。
And there are many things that they both agree with.
咁其實好多方面咧，佢哋都係吻合嘅。
So I go through those first, and then I go through the things that they disagree on.
咁我就會首先會講呢樣嘢啦，之後咧我就會提出咧佢哋兩者之間咧唔吻合嘅地方。
Now, some people who are into Mayavadi philosophy, it may be because they never heard Bhagavat philosophy before.
咁好多咧係喺接受咗非人格神主義嘅哲學嘅人咧，其實佢哋根本咧從來冇聽過咧維丹茶嘅哲學。
But you know, you have to be detached with the result.
咁但係我哋首先咧就係要唔依附我哋嘅結果。
Okay, now when you talk to someone who's a non-devotee, that a karmi may not necessarily be unreligious, you know. Maybe they have their own religion they're into, but you need to understand where they're at and talk in their language.
咁但係我哋向呢啲物質主義者 Kami 去講，即係傳教嘅時候咧，我哋就要佢哋未必係無神論嘅，佢哋可能有自己嘅宗教。咁我哋咧就要用翻佢哋嘅語言嚟到去同佢溝通。
And you need to understand what their concerns are.
我哋都要明白咧，佢哋關心啲乜嘢。
What matters to them?
對佢哋嚟講，邊啲嘢係重要
？Talk about that.
咁我哋就講嗰啲。
Yeah. So that different. So you have to speak according to the audience.
咁我哋咧要根據我哋嘅聽眾嚟到係去講課。
But that does not mean we water it down.
咁但係並唔代表咧，我哋要對我哋自己嘅哲學咧作出一個妥協。
Okay, thank you so much for the detailed explanation. The second question is, why Krishna make it so hard for us to understand him if we want everyone to go back to him to the abode earlier? 咁第二個問題咧，點解咧 Krishna 要令到啲人咁難明白佢咧？而另一方面，佢又想所有啲人快啲翻去嗰度咧。
He's not that hard to understand, really.
咁其實 Krishna 並唔係咁難去理解嘅，
It's pretty simple.
咁其實係好簡單。
Well, you have to. What's required is for you to cleanse your heart.
但係我哋需要咧，首先係去清潔我哋嘅內心。
And that is what devotional activities, Shravanam, Kirtanam, Vishnu Smaranam, Padasevanam, all this 9 different processes of devotional service, that is the process that we have to perform. It's a personal effort.
咁所以咧，我哋要通過9種嘅奉愛服務啦、聆聽啦、念誦啦等等，你都去做呢個奉愛服務，先可以達到呢個目的嘅。咁呢個係一個人你自己要付出嘅努力。
The reason why he makes it so hard was in the purport that when he engages in a loving relationship with you, he's bound to you. He owes you, and so you got to really show him that you mean it. It's not a one night stand. It's a lifetime of love.
咁喺要旨入邊都有提到啦，因為咧 Krishna 係會被呢個純粹嘅奉愛所控制、所捆綁嘅，咁所以咧 Krishna 唔會咁容易就將呢樣嘢俾一個人，咁咧就譬如亦都唔係咁隨便嘅，就好似而家好興嘅一夜情啊等等，呢個咧係有一生一世嘅一個承諾。
So, if I told you it'll take you 12 years of chanting Hare Krishna to get your mind under control, that wouldn't be very encouraging, would it?
如果我同你講，你可能要用12年嘅時間先可以控制你嘅心意去念誦嘅話咧，咁可能唔係對你嚟講唔係話好一個好大嘅鼓勵。
No, be here now. Do it now.
咁我哋要坐言起行，而家就去開始做。
Krishna will reveal himself to you.
咁 Krishna 咧就會揭示佢自己喺對你揭示佢自己。
So.
Perfect answer. Thank you so much.
You're welcome. You're welcome.
I have a question also.
Yes.
When we talk about the 5 rasa, different rasa, we say they are all. I mean, if we are for pure devotees, they can engage in any one kind of the rasa. It is perfect. But we say actually the Madhurya rasa is the highest, is the most perfect. So it's like a hierarchy for me. It's not equal. But they are all pure and they are all perfect. So it is a bit difficult to understand why we say there's a hierarchy. 我翻譯咗問題先。咁我哋講話有5個 rasa 嘅關係咧，同 Krishna。咁我哋話其實任何一個關係咧，呢啲參與者都係純粹嘅奉獻者嚟嘅，亦都係完美嘅。咁但係我哋亦都會講咧，就係 Madhurya rasa， 即係愛侶嘅關係咧，係最高階、最完美嘅。咁點樣去理解本身係完美又更加完美咧
？Okay. Perfect, more perfect, most perfect. How can you understand that?
咁就係完美、更完美、最完美。咁點樣去理解一樣嘢咧
Yeah, because that's how the locations are described. Mathura was described as perfect. Dwarka is more perfect, and Vrindavan was most perfect. Because Krishna is there.
咁就好似我哋講啦，Mathura 係完美啦 ，Dwarka 係更加完美，而 Vrindavan 咧就係最完美嘅，因為 Krishna 就喺 Vrindavan 嗰度。
Variety is the mother of enjoyment, is it not? Yes.
因為咧，我哋去享受咧，就要有唔同嘅要有啲唔同嘅嘢喺度，要有各種唔同嘅花款。
All these different varieties.
咁咧就係唔同嘅種類、唔同嘅花款。
And Madhurya Rasa, you have no idea what the gopis say to him and what they say about him.
咁咧喺呢一個愛侶嘅關係咧，我哋冇話理解明白咧，係莫姑娘會同 Krishna 講啲咩咧
？But if you want a little peek into that, just go to Chaitanya Charitamrita. That's where you find it.
咁就如果你想再深入啲去讀咧，就可以睇呢個《毗尼住有坦日經》入邊咧，就好詳細嘅描述。
Yeah, very interesting. Any question or comment?
No question. Quick comment.
Otherwise, they cannot go into the Facebook.
I read a letter by Prabhupada in reply to that same question, that from Krishna's point of view, he loves the calves as much as he loves Srimati Radharani. The calves
As much
as he loves Srimati Radharani. But from a rasa point of view, the rasa in the Madhura is more deeper and more involved. Yeah, so it's more relishable.
Okay. 咁咧，聖爸爸講過咧，就係話其實 Krishna 咧愛一隻牛同埋愛 Srimati Radharani 嘅愛咧係一樣嘅。咁但係咧就呢一個愛侶之間嘅關係咧係更加深啦，係更加係令 Krishna 咧可以更加係享受。
So you saw that in a letter.
咁呢個係花爸爸寫嘅一封信入邊所提到嘅。
Okay. Oh, I hope you enjoyed it. All right, so we wrap it up there. Thank you very much for joining us today for Iskcon Hong Kong. I'm Sravaniya Dasi. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Shri Shri Gauri Thai ki jai. Hari Hari Bol.
Hari Hari Bol.